If you are a savvy entertainment enthusiast, it's impossible to have not heard of one of the many Thai BL dramas that have blown up over the last few years. And if you have and not watched any of them yet, you're probably wondering, what is the hype all about? Well, why don't you try answering your curiosity by watching some of the best Thai BL drama of all time? To help you do that, here's a list of the best boys' love dramas from Thailand. 1. The ECLIPSE. The country's leading all-boys school, Sao Paulo, is strictly governed. Rumor has it that a curse will punish students who act out, a curse that grows stronger as the solar eclipse nears. But where there are rules, there will naturally be those who want to break them. A group of students calling themselves the World Remembers unite to challenge the school's authority and demand their rights. Head student prefect Ak and his cohorts are tasked with dissuading the rebel group. Then Ian, a mysterious new student, arrives. Ak is suspicious of Ian, this boy whose behavior is so odd and who regularly challenges the school's norms. Ian has enrolled in hopes of discovering the person who pushed his uncle Daika to suicide. His only evidence leading him to Sao Paulo school is in his uncle's old notebook. Ian's method of dealing with Ak's scrutiny is to toy with him. 2. Triage. Third-year emergency medicine resident Tin has to cope with a deluge of different patients every day. Up until the 18th, that is. Tin's life is transformed when university student Tol's car is overturned and he's rushed to the emergency room in serious condition. That night doesn't end when Tin fails to save Tol's life, though. When Tin next wakes, he finds himself in a time loop, a loop he won't be able to leave until he's altered Tol's fate. 3. A Tale of 1,000 Stars. After a volunteer teacher Tor Fun dies in a tragic accident, her heart is transplanted into Tien. Tien learns about his donor's life through a series of diary entries that reveal her secrets and interests. Included is her promise to count 1,000 stars with Chief Forest Officer Fufa. Tien decides to follow in Torfin's footsteps and fulfill her promise. Now a new volunteer teacher himself, Tien attempts to befriend Fufa, who initially gives him the cold shoulder. As the two grow steadily closer, Tien notices his new heart beats quickly whenever he's near the officer. Much like the heart's previous owner, Tien cannot help but fall for Fufa. Treading on dangerous ground, can he still go through with the 1,000-star promise? 4. Bad Buddy. Ever since they were young, Pran and Pat's families had a deep and raging rivalry, trying to one-up each other on everything. This also extended towards their sons. Comparing their sons' achievements and merits, whether it be academic or extracurricular, the two families left no stones unturned to outshine and gloat in front of the other. It was almost like rivalry was passed down as a family heirloom, and the two boys became rivals as well. Until they grew tired and became friends. Really good friends. However, because of their family's rivalry, their friendship had to be kept under wraps. And so began a journey of secret friendship and then perhaps a sweet secret romance. 5. Not Me. Black and White are twins with a powerful connection. After their parents' separation, White's father took him abroad, their family effectively severed in two. It isn't until 15 years have passed that White, now grown, returns to Thailand. One day, seemingly from nowhere, White feels an agony like death. He recovers in the hospital, but they're unable to determine the cause. Then he picks up a call from a childhood friend, Todd. Todd tells him that Black is in a coma following a vicious attack, and he learns that Black is in a motorcycle gang. Unable to endure the harm done to his brother in silence, and suspecting it was one of Black's close friends, Sean, Graham, or Yak, who betrayed him, White disguises himself as Black to root out the traitor. But White doesn't know his brother as well as he thought. He's not behaving like the Black Sean knows, distrustful and uncaring about the feelings of others. Sean's suspicious. The difference gets under Sean's skin and makes him feel things he shouldn't. 6. I Told Sunset About You. Tae and OU were best friends until a boyhood line of reasoning turned them into rivals. Years later, as they're preparing for university admissions, both pursuing interests in the field of communication arts, the two meet in a Chinese language class. Their reunion awakens complicated and unstable feelings. 7. He Is Coming to Me. On his birthday, Mess, a kind heir to a rich family, dies mysteriously and becomes a ghost. For 20 years, he waits in the graveyard for someone to visit so that he is able to reincarnate. However, his plan for reincarnation changes completely when he spots Thun, a young boy who is able to see and talk with him during every Qingming festival. A few years pass and Thun, now a university student, reveals that Mi was killed and promises to identify the reason behind Mess' murder and takes Mess to live with him. As they solve the issues relating to Mess' death, the boys find themselves falling in love with each other despite the obvious that they must be apart one day. 8. Together the series. Tyne is a very handsome student and cheerleader in college, while Sarawat is one of the campus' most popular guys and is also in the soccer and music club. When Tyne is chased by Green, who he does not reciprocate feelings for, he ends up begging Sarawat to fake date him in order to chase Green away. Somehow, just like the tale as old as time goes, pretend somehow starts to turn into reality. However, before a happily ever after, there is the process of falling in love, and the slow realization that somehow they aren't pretending anymore. 9. Dark Blue Kiss. While Cow and Pete's relationship has grown stronger, they are still hiding it from most. Cow is closeted from his mother, and the fear of her finding him out looms over him and his relationship. In the meantime, Cow's mother introduces Nan, her boss' son, as a student in need of Cow's tutoring. When Nan shows interest in Cow, it fuels Pete's jealousy. The secrecy and jealousy put a strain on their otherwise thriving relationship. Sun has begun to give up his unrequited love with Cow. And suddenly Mork is around a lot more. Whilst Sun pushes Rain to stay away from Mork, the younger man's uncontrollable behavior draws him in. Sun's seriousness settles Mork down. Despite their constant clashing, the two start to care for each other. 10. KINNPORSCHE. The second son of a mafia boss, KINNPORSCHE, is fleeing from an enemy when he meets Portia, an enterprising young bartender. Portia agrees to help defend Kin from his attackers for a price. Portia's martial arts skills impress, and spurred on by his father, Kin seeks to hire Portia as one of his personal bodyguards. Portia is opposed and rejects Kin's offer despite his attempts at intimidation. It isn't until Portia's family home and his ability to care for his brother are threatened that he acquiesces and moves on to the Therapeutical property. It's not a smooth transition into the unorthodox, violent job, and his relationship with Kin vacillates between strained and playful. When his feelings for Kin take an unexpected turn, his work becomes even more high-stakes. 11. Theory of Love. Third is a filmology major and a member of the Savage team along with his best friends Tu, Bone, and Kai, but he has a secret. Third has been secretly in love with Kai for years. For 3 years, he has kept his love a secret in his heart, silently supporting and loving Kai while knowing there's absolutely no future between them since Kai is as straight as a streetlight pole and also an absolute player. To make matters worse, Kai has a no-dating friends policy. How long can Third love Kai silently while watching Kai bring a different girl home every night? Third has tried to see Kai as just a friend, but has failed time and time again. Because as easy as it is to fall in love, to stop is just as hard. Maybe even harder. That is until Third learns a secret that breaks his heart completely. But when Third decides to stop, Kai decides to start. 12. Vice versa. Talay wakes up in the body of a man named Tess and re-encounters Pulin, a famous actor who is now in the body of Tun following an accident. The two have Fuadol, a nurse who helps people from the same universe they left behind, to guide them through life in this new universe. According to Fuadol, there's a chance they may be one another's port key, people who can help them return to where they came from once they have completed what they need to achieve. Tun and Talay have a mission to fulfill, and they are assisted by their pals Kita, Fuse, and Friend Credits members Up and AOU. Love and friendship grow with them in the new universe. What will happen with their mission? Will they be able to get back to their home universe? 13. Manner of Death. Dr. Bunnicut is a medical examiner based at a provincial hospital. One day, after carrying out an autopsy on the body of a woman who had seemingly hanged herself, Dr. Bunnicut rules out suicide, as his findings point to homicide. His conclusion suddenly makes him the target of someone very powerful. When an anonymous man breaks into his house and threatens him to change his report to suicide, Dr. Bunnicutt doesn't take this threat seriously. But all that changes when one of his friends, a prosecutor, suddenly disappears. Dr. Bunnicutt quietly conducts his own investigation in order to get at the truth. All clues lead to one suspect, a man named Tan, who denies any involvement. Tan convinces Dr. Bunnicutt to team up together in order to find the real murderer. 14. Lovely writer. Gene is a professional writer whose publisher suggests he try his hand at a new genre. Why? The resulting novel is a huge commercial success. So successful, in fact, that it's being adapted for TV. When the series begins casting, Gene is invited to auditions where he can be consulted. He's not really concerned about any of the actors until he meets Nubsib, who, right from the start, shows open admiration for Gene. Will Gene accept Nubsib's love? What will it lead to? 15. SOTUS. The gear is one of the engineering mechanical devices in the cogwheel system. Having one signifies that one is a student of the Faculty of Engineering. However, to get one, all engineering freshmen must first undergo the SOTUS, acronym for Seniority, Order, Tradition, Unity, and Spirit system. Arthit, one of the third-year seniors, often abuses his power over the freshmen by making them do things against the rules. Freshman students are practically powerless to complain or resist any orders given by their seniors. Arthit was seemingly unstoppable until Kangpop stood up against the abuses by the former. Continual encounters between the two developed from animosity to something much more affectionate. 16. Love mechanics. When a junior woos V's friend, V, swearing to love only one in life, has to cut ties with Mark. But God plays a joke on them and something happened between V and Mark. Mark chooses to tuck away and draws an end to it. However, V doesn't want an end with Mark. Mark himself loves V, although he knows V has a beloved girlfriend. Will the love between them make it? When will the awkwardness break out? What will V do? 17. Until we meet again. 30 years ago, Korn and In Touch were university students in Bangkok. In Touch entered Korn's life despite knowing that he was the son of one of the most influential crime bosses in Bangkok. At first, Korn pushed In Touch away, but in the end, he couldn't resist the boy who was so full of life, his exact opposite. However, their love was star-crossed in a time when homosexuality was unacceptable. Amidst mounting chaos in their lives, In Touch kept fighting for their future, but Korn could not deal with all the suffering and decided to give up. That day, the sounds of 2 gunshots rang through the air. Though their story ended in tragedy, something had tied itself between them and kept them bound even beyond death. Years later, 19-year-old Farm returns to Thailand as a freshman at T University. Riddled with sad dreams that wake him with a wet face, plagued with a fear of loud noises, and bearing a birthmark on his temple, the boy has always had a sense that he was missing someone. 21-year-old Dean is a third-year student and the swimming club's president at T University. He, too, has spent his life searching for someone whose face he cannot remember. The red thread of fate that had tied them together in their past life pulls the two boys together once again, tying them to each other and to a past that might not be worth remembering. The red thread that binds their two hearts together will always lead one back to the other. It may tangle and stretch, but it will never break.